change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
All right, good morning. Good morning, Joe Sinagra. Good morning, Rick Remsnyder.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Great to be with you, Lawrence.
Yeah,
a little crispy
good
out there
this
morning.
It is, but what a nice couple days it was the last couple days.
I know.
Yesterday was beautiful. I had all the windows open in my apartment, kind of like doing like a mini. Oh, forgot to hit that button. That's one thing I'll teach you.
That's the problem when you talk with your hands.
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking. So no, I had all the windows open yesterday. I was doing like a little mini spring cleaning, and then as soon as the sun went down, it got really cold. But yes, it's good. It's actually, I mean, I'm going skiing after the show today, so I like to ski. But if it never snowed in Kingston and it only snowed in the mountains, I would be good with that.
So would I,
Yeah.
personally.
You know, it's great to see Joe here, and you know, I used to be. I hit an anniversary today. 6 months I've been retired as a tourism director. I can't believe it.
Oh,
See,
my
Good
God,
for
that
you.
went
Congratulations.
fast.
I know. Time flies when
Wait,
you're.
that was September.
September,
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
So, but I still kind of keep a pulse on what's going on. And you mentioned skiing, and I know with all the snow we've had recently, Bel Air and the other ski areas, have you been up? Or they're doing well, right?
I haven't been to Hunter yet this year, but I went to Bel Air a couple times. I'm going with a couple friends after. Actually, one of the Cameron Rylance, one of the Tuesday hosts. I'm going with him and Tom Murphy. And yeah, the snow has been excellent up there. Though they don't groom as much as they used to. I would have a feeling that you know the state takes care of Bel Air.
Yep.
So I have a feeling that they don't. And the lodge isn't at full capacity. Cafeteria is not open. The ski shop isn't open.
Yep.
There's a limited amount of people that are actually allowed in the lodge, and they don't even light the fire anymore because they don't want people sitting by the fire getting warm. They want you in and out, and you have to stand on line. There's this little window that you can go get a beer and a sandwich at, but it's usually backed up so long that we stop at Brio's in Phoenicia on the way home. They got great pizza.
They do.
You've been to Brio's? It's awesome.
I know the gondola, is it running this year?
Yeah, it's great. That thing holds 8 people. I think it's 8 people or 6. It's huge. And you can ski all the way to the bottom of Bel Air now. So you can get off at the top, ski. You have to ski around to the left, and then you go over this little ramp that goes over the parking lot, skis down, and then you have to ski on the kiddie slope for a little minute. But it's a 7-minute ride from the bottom of Bel Air in the gondola to the top. So that's not too bad. Usually, if you had to ski down where Overlook Lodge is, it's what, 3 or 4 turns and you're at the bottom. So
Right.
It's nice to have that little extra run. I only got 10 or 11 runs in me, and I'm tired. I'm 48 now, so I can't ski like I'm in my
He's
20s.
48 old, 48.
Nice.
Oh, my gosh. You're ancient.
You might
Yeah,
be thinking about retirement
Getting
soon.
old.
You know, I don't know if it was, Joe, it was 3 or 4 years ago that they opened the gondola, and they had a ceremony and everything. And I'm deathly afraid of heights. I mean, I can't even, when I go to the walkway over to Hudson, all I can do is go in the middle,
Right.
and that's pretty wide.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of bridges either.
So they said, but really, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I took the gondola up, like you said, it's 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And I guess the benefit of it, me not being a skier, is they're able, when they're busy, they can turn over more people. Plus, do they open up more trails with that gondola or not?
No, well, the trails are pretty much limited at Bel Air. You have the one side, but all the new, like they did away with the one lift. They used to have 2 high-speed quads at the bottom. Now there's just the one that shoots up the right side of the mountain. And what we usually do is we ski the Tomahawk lift. There's no one really ever on it. It's an older lift. I think it's a triple chair. I don't think it's a quad. So it's one of the older triples. It's okay. There's no one ever skiing over there. But the few times that I have been to Bel Air this year, man, the lines have been long, man.
Well, that's good.
And, well, it's good. I mean, it's good to see people back out. But I tell you, when you go skiing now, it's not like when I was younger, there'd be a bunch of people my age skiing. Millennials, besides the snowboarders, skiing's an expensive sport. So millennials don't play golf. They don't join service clubs. They don't ski. It's like a dying sport, really. So... And then that avalanche that happened at Bel Air, did you guys ever see the pictures of that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
happened
caused some
Christmas
damage,
Day.
right?
It was the whole front of the mountain slid right into the lodge. But
Very
they fixed it
fortunate
up.
nobody was
It was.
hurt.
I couldn't believe they were open a couple of days later, and it's almost completely finished. They fixed it all,
Wow.
except for the one part, that sunroom with all the windows, that hasn't been fixed yet. I would imagine they'll do that, this summer or something.
As bad as the economy has been, and hopefully when the vaccines, we get the herd immunity, things will pick up. But I know the two outdoor sports, golf had its best year in like forever last year. And I think skiing's doing pretty well too. So, it's all about people getting outdoors. You can do the social distancing.
Right.
And I know some golf courses that were really, struggling before the pandemic. I mean, people were out there. I mean, it was just one of these deals where it was one of the few things that you could feel you're safe.
And in the beginning, you had to hike the golf course.
Oh, no carts? There were no carts?
Well, no carts, but you couldn't technically play golf. You could only hike the golf course.
Okay.
So within that relaxed once the state opened up their courses.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to see that. There's, I don't know if you guys know Brian Bonesteel or not, but he's
See the guy that owns Bone Steels?
Yeah, he's the owner of Green Acres. What a job he's done. And he's done a lot of renovations and really made the course a little more challenging. At the end of last year, he told me that they were up 30%, which is really good.
That is good.
I was amazed when I went around and spoke to like a lot of the businesses that they said they did overwhelmingly astronomical numbers compared to years past. And then, of course, we saw the other businesses like our restaurants,
Right.
That suffered. It's weird how things happen for a reason, and I guess when it's feast or famine, and depending which group you're in that particular year, depends on how well you're going to do or not do. And it was interesting to see, but some of these businesses around here, when you take a look at the sales tax numbers that came in,
Right.
in the beginning of the year, it was doom and gloom in the beginning of last year. And then by the end of the year, I was like, wow.
I wonder if that sales tax revenue has to do with online spending, though.
It does.
Okay,
yeah.
because a lot of places were closed, and
Right.
I mean, I was flabbergasted when I read that, but that's good. Now, does that kick in for the Homestead Act now for Kingston, since we went over the tax revenue? We've got the...
That I don't know. All I know is, and I'm glad you brought it up, I thought we might want to discuss that today, that, they took in $127 million in sales tax revenue, and it's just less than 1%, below the anticipated in the 2020 county budget. So, but, there were a lot of businesses, obviously you mentioned restaurants, that lost revenue, but the online was up over, I'd have to look it up, but I believe the online was over 120% up. So,
And I used to work at Sam's Club. I worked for years there, and I was speaking to some of the managers, and they said that during the height of the pandemic last year, they were running like holiday numbers, just about every week.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so it's some of those the big box stores, they did well. It's the mom and pops, and that's the ones that we really need to support. And so we did our part, though. We ate out a lot. Went and picked food up and brought it in, but yeah, and I think a lot of people did that.
I'm the same way. I, do a lot of, ordering out and, takeout, and one of my favorite go-to places, the Stadium Diner, and,
I love the diner.
Yeah,
I wish, but now they're not open 24 hours. They open at 7 in the morning now. And then they close at 10, right, Rick?
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, remember they had for a while there, you could only stay open till 10. So
Oh, yeah, that's
everybody was
true.
forced to close.
I like the Dietz Diner. You can get a great meal in there for $10.
I know. And another place that has been booming and people are coming back is try to go to the Texas Roadhouse on a Friday or Saturday night in Kingston.
You probably
Right?
can't get a seat.
Oh, my Lord. It's like, I don't want to say it's packed because there is
The food is really good there, too.
What's that?
The food is really good there,
Oh
too.
yeah, and like you say, the Stadium Diner's affordable. Texas Roadhouse, you get a steak and baked potato and salad, for a very very good price. But they do the. I remember in the summer, the takeout was like I would go there on a Saturday night, and you would be wait in the car, and then they tell you to come in, or they have a little window there. Well, it was a bit of a wait in the summer. Now it's like no wait. Everybody's in the restaurant.
Yeah,
so.
that's good.
Buffalo Wild Wings last night. I drove past there around 8 o'clock. That place was.
Was it packed?
Again, I won't say. No, can't say that.
You can't say packed.
Well, as long as
Just
they're
let's just say
keeping
that there was
everybody-
very few open parking spaces.
Okay. Well, if they're keeping everybody apart, I mean, I don't know. I always like Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Yeah, their wings are good. I thought they were closed for a while because they opened up. They had a bunch of people because we were going there during football season, and their wings are a little expensive. But God, the food is good, and no matter where you turn, there's a TV everywhere.
Right.
So you can't. I mean, they'll have every single game on a Sunday, all the NFL games, whatever's playing at that particular moment. So. Yeah, that used to be a Ruby Tuesdays, right?
That's correct.
Yes, Ruby
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
I used to love the salad bar at Ruby Tuesdays. Man.
Wasn't the Buffalo Wild Wings, wasn't that open?
It was in the mall. Remember, it was in the.
Yeah.
It was where the ground round was.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that place is like jinxed or something. But yeah, I was surprised that they left Kingston or the town of Ulster. Now they're back though, which is good because, that corridor has some great places. And me, unfortunately, living in the Lake Katrina apartments, doesn't take me long to go down there and get stuff. So
No.
Makes it easy.
it makes it too easy.
So, talk about the corridor. Yesterday I saw Barnes & Noble had put a message out to their customers, and I was really disappointed.
Yeah, they're leaving.
Yeah, it's
And
disappointed,
Burlington's
but
going.
they said they're trying to look for another place around here. In their letter that they sent out to their customers, they indicated that the landlords wouldn't renew their lease, and I was really surprised
So
about
they're
that.
going to let them. They're going to let Burlington move into their spot. They're only moving down the street.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand that. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that maybe Burlington's going to pay more than what
That
Barnes
and
Noble
maybe
was
they
paying
think they're
to
going
be
to
there.
get more business because that's a busier plaza than I still call it the Caldor Plaza. Than where the what was that, the A&P, not the A&P, used to be Wall Bombs, right? Used to
Right,
be-
Wall Bombs.
Bombs. Now you're dating yourself.
No, the A&P was down by where Subaru is. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
God, that is old.
Yeah,
Now
it
there's
was-
an Aldi's there, right? Where
Yeah.
A&P used to be, yeah.
Well, and Grand Union was there, right? That was right there on East Chester Street bypass.
Yes.
Yeah, where Aldi's is, that was Grand Union. I used to shop there.
Well, it would be a shame if we didn't have a Barnes and Noble. It's
Well, it sounds like they want to stay. They're looking for a place, according to the letter they sent out.
They should move into Burlington Coat Factory.
There you go.
Just
I mean, there's an
switch.
empty spot.
I was thinking even, remember where the old ShopRite was on Morton Boulevard?
Oh, yeah, that's a
You know,
good
that's,
one.
and there was,
How
that was
about-
Office Depot at
How
one
about all
time.
the empty spots in the Hudson Valley Mall?
Well, yeah.
And no one goes there. That's probably what.
I still think something's up with the Hudson Valley Mall.
Something
There's-
is really up with the Hudson Valley Mall. I mean, even GNC is gone now. I think GameStop, and there's one. What's in the food court? The same Asian food that's been there since, I remember going to the mall when Papa Gino's was there. When they only had, what was it, 3 cinemas they had then, or 6? I forget when the mall first opened. It had, I think it was 6.
It was 6, right?
Remember, you used to walk down that hallway in the
Yep,
back.
that's right.
And then to get into it.
It was, it's disappointing because when I worked for Town of Ulster Police Department, that used to be extra money for us to work, for the cops to work.
Security?
Yeah,
Oh,
Friday
security.
and Saturday nights up there.
Yeah.
And gosh, I can imagine that place, you'd be elbow to elbow. And
I feel bad for the owners of the cinema there because they did such a wonderful job
It is so nice.
with the reclining seats and renovated everything in the movie theaters. And my son and I, we've gone there like probably 3 or 4 times. And there's not a lot of new movies coming out. That's part of the problem. But we'll go to a movie like maybe 5 or maybe 7. And it's like they're so welcoming and happy to see you because maybe on a Friday and Saturday night there's some business, but I've never been to a movie where there's been more than a half dozen people
Yeah.
in the movie
And
theater.
It's funny that you bring that up. Now, no matter what size, after you buy your first soda and first popcorn, it's all unlimited refills afterwards too. So you could get a small popcorn, small soda, and come out 9 times and fill the thing up during the movie. And their soda thing, what is it? There's got to be 100 sodas in that in that rack. No, they did a really nice job fixing it up, and then we went into the pandemic, and it's cheap too. I think it's $11, right, for the movie.
It's not bad.
We went to a matinee. I went to see the last movie I went to see was Ford versus Ferrari, with the one with Matt Damon and
Right.
what's his name there, Christian Bale. It was all right. I just was curious about that whole era in time or whatever, and I think it was $22 for the both of us to go, and it was Black Friday actually 2 years ago. And it was nice, man. That reclining chair in there is nicer than the one in my living room. It's got heat. It'll cool you off in the summer or keep you warm in the winter. It's really nice.
Well, my son is the only one I think that can polish off. Well, maybe there's others, but the popcorn, the large popcorn they give you, and it's only $1 more than the small.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know how many ounces it is, but
Gigantic.
it's probably triple the small. So you got to get the large for an extra. And the thing is like huge, and it's a good deal. And I encourage people to go there. You wear your mask, obviously, unless you're eating or drinking, and make sure there's plenty of space. And there's some good movies out now, and but they got to be taken. It got to be hard, right?
It has to be, yeah. And I hope there's going to be relief, for these businesses. You don't want to see these big businesses end up closing, because they can't make their rent, say. It goes back to right now with the moratorium on evictions. My heart goes out to anybody that owns any type of apartment buildings right now. They haven't. I know a lot of landlords that haven't received any money in over a year on their apartments, and it's a shame. It's what's happening, and I just hope there's going to be relief at the end of the day for them, because they're still got to pay their property taxes, and a lot of them are also had to take over the utilities just to
Upkeep of the building,
keep the buildings from freezing this time of the year. Yeah, exactly, and it's disheartening for a lot of them, and I've had a lot of them come to my office and talk about what they can do, and unfortunately right now they can't do anything but just sit back and wait the storm out.
It's tough. Well, you being the chief in Saugerties, how is, I'm sure the businesses in downtown have been impacted, right?
Well, yeah, they have. We had the dry cleaners up there, and Scanlon's had bought it from Flanagan's, and they were open for a period of time, but several weeks ago they ended up closing that store, they said, for this part of the year, just because they're not getting the volume to justify keeping it open. And I can understand that. They want to keep people employed, but if you can't move dry cleaning through your business and you're only getting a couple of customers a day, I can see how that happens. But for the most part, they've band together. They seem to be doing, okay. People are patronizing them. I think that's the most important thing we can do during this. The people that, because there's a lot of people that, even though we have a pandemic, they really haven't been directly impacted by the pandemic. And in fact, some of them have made more money because of the pandemic. And I'd like to see people that are in that position use some of the money that they've received, put it back into the community, reinvest into the community. And you do that by what? You do that by patronizing these businesses and helping them out. And, one of the things I heard, it's funny when you listen to, sometimes you're in a room with other people and you don't know what walk of life they're coming from. And I overheard a conversation between some people that work at a local place, and they were kind of commenting on how people will come in and get food, and they prepare the food and they package it up, and there's a little tip jar there, and they'll just pay for the order and leave without tipping. And in a lot of these places, those individuals that work there, they depend on those tips, to fill that gap. So let's try to be a little bit more generous if we can, I guess, is the what we should be looking to do.
No, I agree with you. Like when I do takeout, I still give the 20%, where I love to go to places like the Bowery Dugout. We were talking about Texas Roadhouse, down Savona's and places like that, Mariners. I always give the 20%, even though, somebody's got to prepare the food, somebody's got to bring it out. So it's more, I think because people don't do it because they're not getting the table service. But
right.
you have to feel for the employees, and whenever I give that 20%, they're happy to see it and say thank you very much.
Right.
So a lot of people, I guess, aren't doing that, which is unfortunate.
And I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of these businesses have had to reduce their staffing just simply to keep their doors open. So now you're putting that extra workload on the individuals behind the counter.
Right.
It's kind of a little pat on the back and say, hey, thank you. We appreciate the fact that you're still here, you're still open. I have a place to stop on the way into work in the morning, you know.
Well, Saugerties is, by the way, this is Rick Remsider and Chief Joe Sinagra here, and we have Lawrence on the board. I'm happy to see that Lawrence, like me, Chief, is a big supporter of the New York Post. Unfortunately, maybe unlike Lawrence, it's hard for me to not start on the back page. I may never get to the front because I'm such a sports fan, but
There's a few articles I like in there. I like Miranda Devine, you know her?
Sure,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like reading her articles. I'm not a big Phil Mushnick fan. I'm not really big on him. But I do like the Post. All the other ones are a little too far to the right for me, so, you know, I try to, it's like when I watch the news at home, I watch Channel 62, Fox Business News, and then I watch CNN, and then I make my own assessment from there, because if you watch one too much, you're going to, you know, you have to get a little balance in there. But shifting gears real quick, and I want to ask you a question, Chief, or at least what your thoughts on it. Yesterday, Stephanie Doyle was one of the guests on Tony Marmo and Val Dwyer's show. She is the brother of Walter Doyle, who was a longtime correction officer at the Ulster County Jail. And we got talking because he called in, and so we, you know, shot the whatever for a minute. He told me as we were talking, because somehow Nicky James's name came up. He's the one accused of shooting the 12-year-old girl on Van Dusen Street. We both went to high school with him. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. So we get to talking. Do you know every inmate, and I was flabbergasted to hear this, every inmate or every prisoner upon entering the Ulster County Jail is handed an iPod or an iPad, a tablet.
Yes, I'm aware of
Why
that.
is that? Do you have any idea why that is? Or
Well,
I
I
know
mean-
that you're not the one that put it in place. Or have
No. And actually, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because again, you know, individuals they go into the jail, and remember something: everybody is innocent. Most of the people that are in the jail,
I said
right,
accused.
until they're proven guilty. And I think what we have to keep in mind is we can't take every liberty away from an individual simply because they end up going to the county
But
jail.
taxpayers have to foot the bill for the tablet. Don't you think?
Well,
Don't you think the county needs some other things besides an inmate having a tablet?
Well, no,
He
because
can watch movies on it.
he's not going to let me answer.
I just was kind of.
But that's the thing. I
Shocked.
mean, if you didn't have that, you'd have to have a TV room. You know, you have to provide certain liberties. You know, to individuals. You can't treat people like animals. Number one. So the other part of it is it's an educational opportunity because they can take classes, depending on how long they're going to be. Like if you talk about now, like state prisons, you can get a high school diploma, you can get a college degree, and you know this is part of rehabilitating. A part of providing opportunity for people to recognize their wrongs if they're wrong, and to have an ability to be able to readjust, and then when they come back out into the community, they can be a productive member of the community. So I understand that, and I believe we have to provide those opportunities. So I don't see that
How
as
about just don't break the law and then
Well,
you can do
that's-
whatever the hell you want?
But it's not that simple for a lot of people. So you have to, again, and it's unfortunately some people they grow up in an environment where breaking the law is
You're right.
a way of life.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I'm
we have
just
to
saying,
understand
I just
that
think
too.
taxpayer money could be spent in a better way than giving a kid a tablet that just murdered a 12-year-old girl or accused
Accused of,
murder.
right.
He wasn't proven guilty yet. I'm just saying that to me is a little. Anyway, you heard my 2 cents. We can move off that subject now. I know that you're not the one that implemented it, but I was just shocked. I was like, what? I just couldn't believe that. Isn't it the whole purpose of going to jail is to, you know, sit in a cell and learn what you did wrong so you don't want to go back?
And also to prepare to go back out and integrate into society. So we have to keep, there's two paths you're taking when you're in.
So let's just give him a tablet and, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to tell him what else they
Watch
get. I'm
movies.
afraid. I mean, he's going to run me out of here if I tell him what else the inmates are getting.
I know you didn't put the rule in. I just was shocked to hear that, like, you know.
Hey, but now that you brought the jail up, though, you got to mention that because we were talking about birthdays and how Friday's big for birthdays. You do know the sheriff had a birthday this week.
Juan's birthday was this
It
week?
was this week. So
You
we
guys
had
are on Wednesday, right?
well, this Wednesday coming up.
Damn it, I wish I would have known that. We could have put him in for a cow pie.
There you go. Well, we'll have to make sure to mention it.
Maybe
next
I'll
week.
make a cake that looks like a tablet.
I knew he was going to do that.
I won't do that to you, Juan. I like Juan Figueroa. I didn't.
Yeah,
vote
he does a
for
great
him,
job.
But
He
I
does a
like
good job,
Juan.
yeah.
I'm happy with the Of course, he's a very friendly guy. I mean, I like Paul Van Blarkum too, but like I said, I voted for Paul the first time around. I like the job that Juan's doing. I think he's doing a tremendous job. And hey, it's a tough job. You got to run the jail as well as all your deputies. I mean, it's not that your job isn't tough, but he's got a lot of things on his plate. He probably has to go to a lot of different meetings. He's probably in meetings all the time. But I tell you, I'm very happy with him. So.
Does he take a tablet with him when he goes to meetings?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he borrows.
Probably his iPhone.
All right, we'll leave that alone. But I just was shocked, and I don't know.
No, I understand what Chief's talking about. Rehabilitation is key here.
It is. And if you want to keep him out of the jail, then
what is it?
maybe try to help
idle
them while
minds
they're there.
make. What is it? The Devil's Workshop or something like that. So at least they're being productive and hopefully learning more and get out of there a better person. And that the
Right.
idea of being incarcerated, eventually you do your time and you come out hopefully a person that's more productive in the community and don't go back.
So what are your thoughts on it? He opened up the...
I don't know. I mean,
so what are your thoughts on if somebody commits murder?
Yeah, it's all good.
No, but I'm asking, if somebody commits murder, should they have an opportunity at some point to be paroled?
Well, I'm not talking about state inmates.
Well, there's a reason why I'm bringing it up, because we're coming up on the anniversary of the Brinks job.
Apparently, from what I heard, I know a correctional officer at Greenhaven Correctional Facility, which is a pretty bad prison from what I gather. Inmates have flat screens. They're not big, they're little, but they have flat screens in their cells if they can provide, if their family will buy that for them, or they have to pay for them. But from what the correctional officer tells me at Greenhaven, it keeps the violence down with having a TV in all their cells. They're more apt to just, you got to give them certain things like cigarettes and, because otherwise they're going to, go crazy.
But see, that goes back to treating people like people.
Right.
And then you're going to have that
I understand
cooperation.
it.
Right.
If a guy's doing 30 years, I mean, even though whatever he's committed a crime, he's got the time. But obviously he's, a person that's looking at life in prison is probably, has some stuff going on in his head where he's, you want to make him as calm as possible, and, pumping him up with Thorazine is not the answer. So, yes, I agree with that. But sometimes when you're up at the Ulster County Jail, like say you go, prior to the bail reform, you would go to the jail, you would be there for a couple of days till you got bailed out or till you went to court, depending on what the nature of your crime was. So you're not really there that long. It's kind of just like, you're either heading to go upstate, or the people that, like, some people get a year in the county, you do the 8 months or whatever like that. But while you're there, you can work in the mess hall. Not the mess hall, but you can do jobs that, I don't know. I was just shocked to hear it. We can let it go. Well, we'll ask Lou what he thinks when he calls in.
Oh, yes.
In a few minutes.
I thought you said you didn't want Lou cursing today on the radio.
No, I didn't curse.
No, I said Lou. I thought you said you didn't want Lou.
Oh, no,
I
said no cursing.
Remember, you have to get ready to hit that button when Lou comes on.
You tell the story.
With Lou?
Yeah.
He just, I think, in Lou's defense, Lou didn't realize we were on the air at the point. We were just talking, and he said something he shouldn't have said on the radio.
He said the S word. He didn't say the F word. He said
the S word. But it was funny because Lars yelled, hey, the radio, we're live. What? He goes, we're live.
Yeah, but before he cursed, I was like, Lou, like 10 minutes or like 5 minutes before, I'm like, Lou, we're on the air, don't curse. He's like, I kept talking. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, Lou, we're on the air. He's like, oh. And then he almost cursed again. It was just funny. Lou never really curses that much. He's a good guy. He's actually, I think he's going to be 85 this year.
Wow. Yeah, I got to ask him.
Shingles, man.
How long ago
shingles. It's terrible.
Did he have, what was that?
Amy just got shingles, man. So she's not, I mean, I know they wanted to, he's been down there since May of, let me see. They left before COVID. They were supposed to come back.
April last year, they were supposed to come back, right?
Yeah, right, and they didn't. So they've been down there almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years, yeah. They were supposed to come back in May. They never did. So, yes, they've been there since winter of 19. So that's almost what was that? A little over a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Not 2 years. All right, you guys want to go to break?
Sure.
And then we'll come back with Lou Kirschner.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there are as few as 3,200. The Earth's wild animals can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from the town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
All right, we're back. I guess we'll shift gears now and stop
Well, no,
talking
you have
about...
you have to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So you got to talk about the tablets. Then what did you mention to us when you came out of the studio during break?
What about how
the
they're paying
inmates with
$10
the
a
tablets?
month? Oh, about keeping the violence down.
Well, no, not only that, but
The
the fact
vending
they
machines?
actually pay to use a tablet. The inmates are paying to use
Oh,
those
yeah,
tablets.
I mean...
So it's, it's not like we're...
No, it's not like you're handing them a tablet and they get to take it home with them when they leave. I understand that. I just...
Well, I don't want I don't want the listeners to think that they're footing the entire bill for this.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I don't want the listeners to think they're footing the entire bill. And basically the inmates are earning. They're earning money while they're in, and it goes into a commissary, and they're able to draw off of that for certain things that they have.
They buy their commissary off of it. They can email their loved ones. I guess.
And you mentioned about having vending machines. They have to have the ability to be able to use these things.
But I thought that's what commissary was for.
As far as, I believe that they
or
have...
Or did they eliminate commissary altogether, and now you just buy it out of the vending machine?
No, I don't believe they eliminate it, and I'm not really, thank God I've never been in a jail, so I can't tell you exactly how it works. But they do have other opportunities to spend what they earn when they're up at the county jail.
Right, and if your loved ones send you money in, you can buy food like that.
Right, correct.
No, I was just curious. So anyway, we'll move on to a different subject. I guess I'll have to save that one for Juan on Wednesday.
You ask him too. I believe there's a cost too for phone calls.
Oh, there definitely is. But as I remember it, and I remember my dad took me on a tour of that jail when they were building it. They were just putting the roof on. I was like, God, it's huge. The new Ulster County Jail, and I believe they built it so they could house. Remember when we used to outboard inmates because the old jail was too small? So that if someone was doing 8 months in jail, they would send you to like Columbia County or another. Now, not since bail reform, but now they bring these inmates in from Newburgh, Orange County Jail, Dutchess County Jail, because they're overpopulated. And I believe the county makes money off that, right?
Well, Ulster County was doing very well when Greene County had to close their jail, and then they were putting their inmates down here. And then, unfortunately, when Sheriff Figueroa came into office, they changed that, and they started shipping. Greene County started shipping inmates up to Albany County. But they just they're going to have a new jail in Greene County that's going to open shortly, and I took a tour through that, and that's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, and how many beds is that?
Off the top of my head,
'Cause that was a small jail to begin
it
with.
was.
Right?
I want to say, I believe the sheriff told me it's 65.
Really?
If I'm not misspoken.
Isn't there 400 at Ulster?
Well, you have to remember, you're going to have, don't forget, Ulster was built, I think that was probably in the early 90s.
I believe so, yeah.
That's
when they
been there
built
a
it?
while.
The new jail?
Yeah.
No, they built that in 2000.
2000 was it?
Yeah. That thing's not even...
Okay, so it's 21 years
Yeah,
old.
when I moved home from Florida, it was like 03, 04. They were just finishing it up then. But
Okay.
they started, it took them like 4 years to build it. Remember they had a problem with the contractor from Jersey or whatever? They had, there was some...
Right,
There
right, there were some
problems.
issues there.
That stalled it for a little bit. No, but I was impressed with, it's a really nice place. There's a laundry room, there's a basketball court, ping pong. It's, like you said with the guy that would be sitting there
But
waiting.
jails are being built differently now because obviously with bail reform, you have a lot less people that are
Right,
going
there's
in.
not that many people. From what my
Right.
friend Spike told me, because there's not that many people up there right now.
Well, and don't forget though that, and we can't be fooled by that number because now you got to backtrack a little bit. Because of the pandemic, a lot of the courts aren't conducting, regular business, which means that a lot of sentencings that would have taken place already have not taken place.
Right.
Once everything fully opens up and you have sentencing, you are going to see the population go up in the Ulster County
Right.
Jail.
Well, I think the bail reform thing eventually, they're from David Clegg was on last week, and he made a couple good points that, some of these things have to be, you have to take a look at what you're really doing. If someone shoots someone on the street and they get a ticket to come back to court, chances are they're not going to come back to court. You know what I mean? Like the problems that we're having in Kingston, and even Tinty, Chief Tinty said something to that effect. He's like, you got to hold people accountable.
Well, accountable, and you can't put people who are dangerous back onto the street. A person who shoots another individual, regardless of what the reason was for shooting, which is there's never a good
He should
reason
be in
to
jail.
shoot anybody, the bottom line becomes they're a danger to society. And unfortunately, under new bail reform, judges are not allowed to consider the dangerousness of an individual for the purpose of putting him in a county jail to hold them until they come back to court to answer the charge. And that's a problem. And, when everybody said the police in the beginning, when I say everybody, some of our politicians up in Albany, we went up there and we lobbied against the bail reform changes. And they basically just said, we were crying fire. We were trying to create hysteria amongst the community that this is a bad thing when it was really a good thing. And they actually see now, a lot of them admit, they had to go back January 1st of last year and actually redo some of the laws that they did.
Right,
and
that's what David
make
Clegg
them a
was
little
saying.
bit more
They
strict.
redid some of the laws.
But they haven't gotten where they really need to get to keep the community safe. Once they allow judges to consider dangerousness, then I think we've reached that point where that's acceptable by the law enforcement community. But until such time comes, I speak for 7 counties I represent as the president of Mid-Hudson Police Chiefs Association. Until that comes, we're not satisfied because we know our communities are at a constant threat when these people are turned back into the street and not placed in some sort of confinement where we can keep an eye on them.
Good.
This
Good
comes
answer.
down to more lobbying and.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And and some of the politicians they recognize, particularly even out in Long Island area, that it cost them elections. Because let's face it, I don't care who you are in society. I don't care where you come from. Everybody wants to go to bed at night and feel safe.
Sure.
They want it. They don't want an intruder coming into their home. I had a gentleman call me, more than one gentleman and ladies that called me up in Saugerties. We had an issue about a year ago with an individual that was going into people's houses at night, and he was sexually abusing women when they were in bed. Well, when we caught him, and this person has no residence, they're transient. They're homeless, right? When we caught the person and identified who it was, we arrested him and brought him in. All the judge could do was release him back out into. And the person, I had people calling me; they were out of their mind. Chief, how could this happen? Well, that's because of bail reform. That's how it happened.
Well, at least they're modifying and taking care. At least they're making changes to it, so they know that it's not the right thing.
Right.
Before Lou calls in, I got a question about Saugerties real quick. Has Bob Circusano made up his mind yet? I know about the car show.
Okay, so I'm not gonna. They're headed towards the car show.
They are?
Hopefully, Bob's not going to get mad at me. He didn't tell me this was supposed to be secret. I think there's a good possibility it's going to be a 2-day event.
Good, and that's August, right? That he usually.
It's usually July.
Oh, it's in July.
It's in July,
okay.
yeah. So hopefully I didn't take any wind out of Bob's sails, but nothing's been etched in stone at this point because again,
You got to wait. It's a wait.
we
and
have
see
to wait
game
it
right
out.
now.
But he is moving forward at this point as if
Yeah.
we are going to have a
Well,
show.
if the vaccines could speed up a little faster. I mean, my mom still hasn't got a shot yet. She gets on the CVS website every day, trying to get online, and I've found out the most people that are, trying to get in a spot, I find the most people that are successful are the ones that are getting up in the middle of the night, like Dave Rylance, who just recently got one, or another friend of mine that I'm in Lions with, Nancy Risley. She's 77. She's like, I happened to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I got on my tablet and I punched into CVS or Walgreens, and they gave me a spot. 5 hours later at 8 in the morning, I showed up and she got her first dose. So it's like if you get on the county list, you're just playing you're on the list. It could be.
I've been on the. Let me tell you what. I've got one shot, and I got on the county list the day it was released. That was had to be 2-3 months ago. I got, and I know that it's all about supply and demand, but I've gotten one email since then. I'm over 65. We're not going to say how old I am, but I am eligible. And so, long story short, I got one response from the county last week, and it said that based on the supply and the number of people that had signed up, there would probably be the end of July for me. So in the interim, I went on the state, and I encourage people to do this. Go on the state site, the health department. I got appointments in Albany in March, Binghamton in April, at the SUNY Binghamton, SUNY Albany. But then when they released it to some of the pharmacies, I kept going on Walgreens. Now, Walgreens in Kingston, I didn't get anything. Long story short, I got an appointment for the Walgreens in Binghamton. I drove 2 weeks ago,
You
2.5
drove to
hours
Binghamton
up
to
there,
get a
got
shot?
the shot, 2.5 hours back. I'll be doing the same thing in about 2 weeks. People, I'm sorry, they ask people to be patient. I understand that. People don't want to wait until the end of July to get a shot. I'm sorry. If you're 65 or over, and I know that I have the statistics on my phone here. I think County Executive Ryan said that 12% of the
11.5. Which I don't know if that's
got the first shot, and 6% are fully vaccinated. And if you look at the state website, and Governor Cuomo sends out an email if you sign up every
Dictator
day,
Cuomo.
gives you the breakdown. What was that?
Dictator Cuomo, not governor. Emperor Cuomo.
Okay. Well, anyway, the email from the state gives you the breakdown,
Right.
and basically what it is Ulster County is pretty much in line with the percentages from every other county. It's not like Ulster County is only 5% or something. They're 12%, which is pretty much the average. But I encourage people to go on the state website, and like you said, I know a friend of mine just happened to walk into a CVS a couple weeks ago. They told him, hey, we're going to have stuff available tomorrow. So he got up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m. and he finally got his wife got a shot.
Yep, that's everyone that I know that's got a shot at either Walgreens or CVS. They were up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning on the website, and that's when they had the best luck of getting one.
I feel bad for people that don't have computers, don't have laptops. Seniors may not be that
Right.
Was smartphones. I don't know how they get shots. I really don't. Now I know there's some individuals that are helping with that, but I think that's a limited number of people. And that is the number one thing I can guarantee you on people's mind right now is getting COVID, get a shot.
Yeah.
Right, and I think there's even a letter to the editor today. I believe there was, I saw a heading of something, I'm 80 years old and I can't get.
Yep, yeah, I see those every once in a while.
And
My mother
it's
has been trying to get a shot for weeks now.
And I'll probably cause some commotion when I make this statement. But, I know for a fact that on Tuesday, they had 4 empty slots at the end of the day that they couldn't find people to vaccinate. So there's something wrong in how the system is working and how they're making notifications. So they really need to take a look at that. I hear stories like you just said. I know a number of people in Saugerties who they've gone up to Lake Placid to get shots.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me why one county seems to have an abundancy of the vaccine and another county, if it has a bigger population, isn't really getting enough vaccine, to handle a daily number of people. And it should have been set up so this is how many people we're going to handle per day, and there should be 2 lists. You have your first responders and everybody that fell in 1A, and then there should be, hey, if we because a number, which is surprising, a number of first responders have chose not to get the vaccine, and I'm one of them. I've chose not to get the vaccine. I had COVID. I think there's people out there that need the vaccine more so than I do, so they should have the opportunity to go get the vaccine. And I know there's a large number of first responders that feel the same way. So there should be these two lists, and at the end of the day, if the 1A list has openings, they should be going to the general populace. They should have a list of names and numbers. Hey, we can call them. Hey, we have an opening. Can you be here in a half hour? Can you be here in 45 minutes? Whatever it is. Just to make sure that we're getting the number of vaccines out, because the issue becomes then, are we holding on to the vaccines for such a period of time that they're no longer potent, that they've lost the ability to, which I don't know the answer to, But it was sad when I heard this week that there was 4 openings on Tuesday that they couldn't fill. And I hear people in my community saying, they're out of their mind trying to find a way to get vaccinated.
Yeah. Right. And let's take an older lady that lives at home, okay, that doesn't have, like transportation, like you said, doesn't have the access to the internet.
Sure.
So they have to get on and do it by phone. And it's, it's probably, it's very mind-boggling.
I'm lucky I'd be able to drive 2.5 hours.
You drove to Binghamton to get it, though. So that's. Well, anyway, on the phone we have Lou Kirschner, former Ulster County Treasurer. He's calling from Florida, where I'm sure the weather is a lot nicer down there. Good morning, Lou.
How are you, everybody?
I'm good.
Morning, Lou.
The weather is beautiful. It's 70 degrees.
That's right. Rub it in.
7:45.
So, Lou, in the studio with us this morning is former Ulster County
Tourism Director.
I'm sorry. Former Ulster County Tourism Director Rick Remsnyder and Chief Joe Sinagra from Saugerties. So,
hello, Joseph.
Good morning.
So, Lou, the question that we've all been asking ourselves, have you got a shot yet?
I got my first shot, yes.
You did get your first shot, okay, good. And then
my second one comes March 15th.
Oh, good. Now, will you be, as soon as Amy gets better, will you be coming back to Ulster County this year, or is that still a wait-and-see game?
I miss it so much, I can't tell you.
I bet you do. You probably want to play golf. How is Amy doing?
She got her first shot Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, good. How is she doing?
She's had a hell of a year.
Yes, she sure has. Yeah, shingles is nothing to play games with, man. That's
no way in heck.
Yeah,
she's suffering like a crazy.
As soon as I turn 50, I'm getting my shingles vaccine, dude. You can believe that. So, and that's also, just to notice this, I tried to get one this year because I'm going to be 49 in June. So I said to my...
You can call me Grandpa, you know that.
Yes, Lou, I know that. But you don't look your age, so you're fine. I wish you would come back so we could...
85 on Monday.
Oh, boy. 85.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Lou, this is Rick Remsnyder. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Rick, what's going on?
Not too much. I want to tell a little story about it. It's a clean story.
Okay, Rick.
So about 15 years ago, when I was appointed by the legislature, Chairman Donaldson, I didn't really know a lot of people in county government. But I did know you. So one of the first people I visited was you in your office as the county treasurer, and you really made me feel like I made the right choice. You said something, well, you're going to love it here, et cetera. And so I always appreciated that. And we used to have some nice conversations in your office. I really miss that.
Sure did. And you did a great job and do a great job.
Well, thanks. It was a lot of fun working with you.
Well, let me tell you something. It was a hell of a lot different then than it is now.
Yeah, no question about that.
Amen to that.
Back to the days where everybody gets along together.
Yes. How so true.
Please.
Lou, how many years ago did you, when was the last year you had Lou's Delicacies open in Uptown Kingston? When was the last year?
Just around 1980.
Okay.
I got elected in I got elected in 77. Yeah, in the early 80s. Believe it or not, we had the place sold. And what happened is that my landlord decided to let the Chinaman, and I'm not saying that in an insulting way, let the Kingston Tea Garden take over the building when I had first refusal. I got so teed off that I put everything out on the street. I gave myself till February 1st. I was supposed to move down to where, I Faye's restaurant was. It was owned by the chef. I forget the name of the place that it was. But I was supposed to move in there, and the guy that owned it at the time backed out, so everything was out on the street in the middle of February.
Oh.
But, things always work for the best. Our catering got very successful. We worked until I just turned in my license last year.
Oh.
When the COVID came on, we're scheduled to have a big job down in Croton on the Hudson. It was a job we had done for 34 years, and they had to cancel it. And I said, we're in our 80s, and it's about time we took a little easier. But we miss it.
Sure. Yeah, I used to, when I worked a long time ago, I worked 12, 13 years at the Daily Freeman, starting in the...
I remember those days, Rick.
Yep, the late 70s, and I left in 1990. I can't tell you how many times we would go up there and have breakfast, and of course it was an interesting time because, as you probably remember, people may not remember this, but used to be a afternoon paper, but then when they went to a morning paper, we had to work a split shift. I would work like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and I was in sports mostly, and then I had the rest of the day off until I had to go cover a basketball game or a football game or something at night. So I had plenty of time to kill, and I would always hit your place for breakfast or lunch.
That's right.
See, now I remember...
I used to see you downtown when we had the meetings for the Rear Center.
Right, yeah, sure.
Are you still down there?
Yeah. No, I'm not on that anymore.
Wow.
So now you're retired?
Yes, I retired. I was telling Chief Sinagra, today's my 6-month anniversary from retiring.
Congratulations.
Yep, thank you. It's hard to believe.
I hope to get there someday.
From active duty in 73, in 2009.
2009, that's when you retired?
Yep, so that's 11 years, almost
God bless
12
you.
years ago.
That's awesome. Would you talk to my father? Because I don't think he understands the word retirement. I don't think he knows what that means.
Hey, Joe, I didn't retire completely. I'm still as active as they come on organization.
Yeah, I know you are. Especially cooking.
Too bad we don't make the money on the hours I put in.
That's true. Rick, I was going to mention when you said about the paper, I was a delivery boy for the Freeman, and actually for the Middletown Record. I even did the racing form, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. I would go out. My dad would have to on Sundays, especially help me because it was just a ton of papers, and the New York Times on Sunday was thick. But the Freeman and my kids, they're amazed when I tell them. I said, this paper used to come twice a day.
Right.
It used to come around 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me to deliver. So when people came home from work at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they had the afternoon edition of the Freeman.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the paper was much thicker back then, both editions, the morning and the afternoon edition, much thicker. But those were things have changed, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
Big time. Ooh. I haven't even seen the new studios where you guys are announcing from.
Oh my gosh, night and day, Lou.
You need to get on YouTube and type in Kingston Community Radio, and you can see Rick and Joe and almost in person.
I know. When Tony used to come down, we'd put it on and watch.
No, it's definitely a lot nicer than 82 John Street. Well, for one, the heat works, the air conditioning works.
Don't forget, I was there for a few years as treasurer, right?
Well, that's what me and Nina were trying to figure out. Nina was down in the back, so we're on the second.
No, I was in the back.
Oh, you were on the first floor?
My entrance was I could drive my car into the back of the building.
Okay, so then you were back where the mirror window is. Okay, so where we are, there's still some signs that were on the old doors. I think this was like where they kept all their clerical records, because when we came in to look at this spot before, we had it built or whatever, you could see where the file cabinets were on the floor, like where the dust was collecting around them. And if you walk down these back stairs here,
I remember the Saturday I came in and it was all flooded.
Oh.
When we first went into that.
Oh, when the hurricane, you mean?
No, before hurricane. When we used to have bad rainstorms, the water would come down and come very close to coming in the door.
Really?
But one Saturday, I was going in to check on things. I walked in, and I had to call Al up because all our records were starting to get wet.
Oh, God.
So we were lucky.
Yeah, well, Nina, well, of course you know Nina, she's on Tuesdays with Cam. She seems to think that these were all the record rooms because was Family Court here then at that time too, or were they not?
After. Family Court
they came after.
They
okay.
came after, yep.
So then up here, like in the front where the Partnership for Education is, I think that's where the judges, like not his chambers, but that's where his offices were because the elevator used to go, right? You would only go up here for, right? Am I right about that? Or was the judge?
So I'm trying to think, because I came here for court, so there was courtrooms up here.
Right, but the main family court was downstairs.
He was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was smaller rooms up here where they held hearings.
Yeah, okay. An elevator in the building, I think.
Elevator still works, Lou.
Yeah.
And then I remember coming to this building with my dad to get tires, right? Didn't Bernie Singer, was it Bernie Singer I had this?
No,
Dory,
Charlie Schaller.
Yeah, Charlie Schaller.
Charlie Schaller,
Yeah,
that's right,
Dory
Charlie
Dabby
Schaller.
told me a story because we have our board meetings in here for Lions, Lou. So he told me a story. He's like, "Oh, this place used to be a Honda dealership back in the day. Nicest motorcycles. And if you walk into the back, you can see where their garage doors were, where their service shop was."
So Bernie Singer was out in the town of Ulster then, right? Where the tire house is now, right? Wasn't that Singer Tires?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was. Because I know we used to go to both places.
Bernie Singer was out there, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
He started on North Front Street.
All right.
I don't know if it's where Richie Matthews had the rug company or not.
Oh, Colonial City Carpet.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if that.
I think Bernie Singer was there before he. You know how many years you're going back?
I was probably not even born then.
You probably were.
I don't know, the way you were talking earlier, you sounded like you've been here forever.
Oh, what? Because of the oh God, here we go. Because of the tablets, I was a little shocked.
No.
We're gonna let the tablet.
You were complaining that 48 was old this morning.
Oh no, I'm saying that I can only ski about 10 to 11 runs now before the bones start to ache a little bit. So what I do when I go skiing is I go out and I ski hard right until lunchtime, and then after the cold beer down at the, we like to sit on the deck and, watch the other skiers come down. And that's it for me. I'm not going back up after that. But, when I was 20, I could do, 30, 40 runs, 20 before lunch, 20 after. Now I go home and I'll be lying on the couch all night, sore.
The only place I was good in when there was skiing was in the lodge.
Yeah. Well, they had an avalanche at Bel Air, so they've redone it.
I couldn't afford to get hurt because I had to open up my deli every morning at 7:00.
And now we can't afford the prices. It's $125 to ski at Hunter on the weekend.
Wow.
$125. You know how many rounds of golf you can play with $125?
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Down here you can't.
No. But in the summer you can, though. When I lived in Florida, it was cheap to play in the summer because no one wants to go out in the 90-degree heat and play.
Yeah. Well, you get a nice tan while you're swinging the ball.
Yeah. All right, so instead of going to a break, we'll do that before Bob comes. Why don't we jump into the birthdays, because I know we got quite a few, and Lou can be our cow and moo. There you go. See, you still got it, Lou. You still got it.
Yes, still got it.
Let's see what we got here. We're looking at the envelopes now, Lou.
Okay.
So is that do we have one for today?
Did I give you one?
So I have we want to wish a Mike Pettit a happy birthday, and that's love from your family and friends. So happy birthday, Mike.
I have a couple here from Saturday. You want to hold off on those? Or?
No, let's just do each day, like whoever the winner is for Friday. Is Mike the only one for Friday?
Yes.
So Mike, you're the winner. Go ahead, Lou. You can moo now. There you go.
Where's your cowbell?
Oh, it's in there. Yeah, we don't. Dan usually does a real professional moo, but
the show is going way downhill.
Now we have quite a few for Saturday. We have 3, so we're going to have to divvy those up. This is Saturday, tomorrow. Happy birthday to Susan Strang Morrison from your friends and family, Mom, Brock II, Haley, and Maggie May and Kingston.
Happy birthday.
And
No, you got a couple more.
I had to get clarification on a name.
That's Dan's handwriting.
That's Dan's? We have to talk to Dan about his handwriting. So happy birthday to Reed Myers, and that's from family and friends. So happy birthday, Reed.
Happy birthday, Reed.
And the birthday, we shake these up, right?
Yeah, put them in the randomizer. As
In the
Cam calls it.
randomizer, and the birthday winner of the famous cow pie for Saturday is Susan Strang Morrison.
Oh my God.
All right.
Hey, that was good, Lou. That was a good move, that last one.
No Sunday birthdays?
Yes.
See, Rick. Now, Rick is used to being a co-host on Tuesdays. This is one of the things you got to look forward to, Rick. There's 3 sets of birthdays on Fridays when you're a host.
Yeah, okay.
So you got to cover the Sunday people too.
We do have 2 for Sunday. Go ahead, Chief.
So I have a happy and healthy birthday to Peter Messeri, and that's from your family.
Oh, I know Peter. Also, happy birthday to Laura Healy from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers. And we're going to have to shake those up again. All right, here we go. Boy, we really got them. I never win these things. And the winner is of a famous cow pie from Boyce's Milk House and Kingston Community Radio is Laura Healy.
Happy birthday, Laura. So for all the winners of today's cow pies, you can all go to 62 O'Neill Street in Midtown Kingston and pick up your delicious cow pie from Boyce's Brothers Dairy, which are, I don't know, I'm sure the 2 of you have had one. They are absolutely delicious, and they have many different flavors to choose from. I recommend the Butterfinger one. That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, they have a Butterfinger cow pie with little pieces of Butterfinger candy broken over the top of it. It is delicious.
How many calories do you think is in that?
Probably more than a Big Mac, which has 900 in it.
Well, no, but they also have nice light ice cream you can get.
Yeah, you can get it a different way. You can, they have, actually, I think they do it with, do they do it with non-fat milk too?
I believe.
Or low-fat milk, maybe.
All I know is it's a hell of a lot less calories than regular.
Yes, and it's really good too. So.
Yeah.
So, Lou, have you been on the golf course?
Every day.
Good for you.
Even with your wife having shingles, you're out there every day? You don't have to answer that one.
Well, I can't get it until after my second shot on it.
You live on a golf course, though, correct? You're in a community on a course?
Yeah, we have Breakers West. It's the East Course for the Breakers Hotel. And then we also have Ymca, which is another golf course. We have 2 golf courses here. And I try to play at least, well, I'm not good, you know that. So I go out and get my exercise.
Yeah, there you go.
Days a week.
Yeah, there you go. Enjoy the nice fresh air.
Well, I was stupid last week. I was in the league, and I had a beautiful shot. It was out of the woods, and I must have had my foot a little bit out of the cart, and I hit a tree with my foot.
Ow! Jesus.
So I have a pregnant foot now.
So you drove your cart in the woods?
He probably was chasing his ball.
Well, it wasn't really, it wasn't thick. It wasn't a dense place.
The rough.
There are a few trees there, and I happened to be in a rush to get back because I didn't want to hold up the guys. And I must have touched the accelerator rather than the brake.
Oh, gotcha.
So I ended up with some contusions in my left foot.
Oh, well, are you moving okay now?
Sure, it didn't stop me from playing golf. I just wear the boot.
There you go. 85 and still going strong.
86 in July, baby.
Oh, boy.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Lou, you must be happy with the renaissance of Wiltwyck, right? I mean, they're really the new investors there, and they're really doing well.
They are doing a beautiful job.
I hear the restaurant's amazing.
And the food has to be good because they borrowed my slicer. I haven't seen it since.
They took it out of your basement?
I wish they'd take half of my stuff.
Hey, if you don't want it, I'll take it.
I
can use it for the Lions installation for the dinner, the Thanksgiving dinner, which I hope we're going to have this year.
Yeah, well, tell them you need it for the night.
Okay.
I hope they have outings this year. I got to tell you, when I was tourism director, that I worked very closely with their new pro there, Lou Burbick, and he's doing a terrific job. Luke Burbick, he's doing a terrific job.
Yeah, he certainly is. I hear about it every day. Because Bill Reynolds calls me to make sure I know what's going on. And Savannah's wonderful, too.
Yep.
And they're going to have a little one in April.
Congratulations to them. Great.
Yeah. And he's really done a job. And you know, it isn't that bad. It's semi-private now, but he's opened it up where they have leagues. He's a really progressive young kid, and I haven't seen it in over a year. You know, I haven't been over since a year ago, October.
Yeah, well, you got to get back. It's the last time I played a couple times last year. It's in terrific shape, and
Certainly is.
you know, they got a great staff there. And you know, I'm not a member, but the rates for the public are really
fair.
affordable.
Yes.
They're not bad. So
Well, even the card, I think he only charges $1 a hole, doesn't he?
well, I think it's more than $1 a hole. That's $18 now. A little more than that, but
well, that's $18 for an 18.
No, for a cart, he may be right. Maybe
oh, for the
18
cart,
for the cart,
yeah, for the cart, right. You can get, I know particularly a lot of the guys, they have a rate after, I believe it's 2 or 3, and you can get out there with really cheap. And, you know, Wiltwick still, you know, to me is the premier golf course in the Hudson Valley. It's just a fantastic Robert Trent Jones layout. So people get their money's worth.
Well, you're right. Well, they need it to. It's very healthy, and it's something that they've got to keep going. You know, it's an expensive sport, but it's healthy.
I don't think it's as expensive as many sports, so I got to tell you, I enjoy it.
Is your dad still playing down in Flosville?
Oh yeah. Actually, he and I are. What's that?
He's still his partner in the league?
Oh yeah, Tuesday nights, and then my twin brother and I play on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. Well, you tell him. I hope you feel. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing great.
Are they down here?
No. They stayed up here this year. You know, he's running around. He's working at the. He works at the funeral home.
The what?
He works at the funeral home.
Your brother?
Yeah, for Himmerly.
He can't retire either.
Yeah, that's why I said he won't retire. He just keeps working. He keeps finding jobs to do.
Well, you know, it's in our blood.
He was telling me the other day, like they did a funeral in that snowstorm, and I'm like, you're 84 years old. What are you doing? You know, you should be home next to the fireplace.
What about your uncle? Your brother? Your brother Phil, the day that Lucy had the accident, he says, "Come on with me in the ambulance." He brings us over to
Northern Dutchess, right?
Dutchess. He said, "You're gonna find a ride home. I can't bring you back."
Yeah, my brother brings him in the ambulance, drops him off at the hospital, tells him, "Find your own way home." But you got home.
God, we could tell some stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but the golf did. We were talking about it. Golf did very well last year.
Yeah.
Most courses, yeah, and we had a lot of. That's like spent a lot of time down the golf course. I get to get outside, walk, fresh air.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't walk because that's the first time I was in an ambulance. when I was up and I got dehydrated, I think.
Right.
At Wiltwick.
I was there that day when you got dehydrated. I don't know if it was, I was there playing, and I was really concerned for you. And I remember them taking you out.
In an ambulance?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I never heard that story.
What it was.
What, was it really hot that day?
Yeah. Well, you were playing it, I don't know if it was an outing or something, right, Lou?
The what?
Were you playing in a tournament that day?
No, not the. I don't even know. I was just playing that day.
Yeah.
They were concerned when I cooked that I didn't have enough water. They said I'm cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and they're giving me water to make sure I stay hydrated. I said we could tell some stories, my guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what keeps us young, guys.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Purpose.
You look poor Anthony. My condolences, Joe, to the family.
I'm sorry, Lou?
I said your Uncle Tony.
Yes.
He was down here. He was in Florida.
Yes, he was.
St.
Yeah.
Augustine.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
And how old was he when he passed?
So.
God almighty.
Is he in the 80s?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's my dad's younger brother, but not by much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate, but
I think about it all the time, let me tell you.
We all live to die, Lou.
For every day as it goes on.
Yes. Yep. And we have to those that are in their 80s and What a great life, right? You know,
Yeah,
when you think about it.
Hey, when we were 16, 80 was an old fart. now we're just old.
I don't know. I'm starting to think 48's old, according to this one over here.
I mean, you know, all right.
I
said my balls hurt after skiing. It wasn't like I was complaining about retirement.
It was kind of the way you said it.
That could be very true. But yes, I'm just not as young as I used to be. So when I do athletic things, and I'm like, God, I could soar shooting basketball. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I used to be able to play all the time, but anyway, it is what it is.
When are you coming back, Lou?
Huh?
When are you going to come back?
That's what I said, huh?
I know you want to come
no
back.
Idea. We're going to end up permanent residents of Florida, I'm afraid.
I don't know how you can do it with the summers. I lived down there for 7 years, and the summers were absolutely brutal. And he was
No, they're not. That's not
well,
true.
you like it because you're in your 80s, but for us younger folk,
wait, what does that mean?
There's air conditioning in the car. There's air conditioning in the house.
I know, but okay, so right, you're in the car, you're in the house, you can't go outside.
Yeah, well, then you're going to swim.
There you go.
And then you go to the dermatologist because...
Yeah, because you got skin cancer, right.
Oh, well. So
I had 12 staples in my head.
So when you're not playing golf, Lou, what else are you doing to keep yourself occupied down there?
Probably playing
I'm
mahjong.
on a couple boards like usual.
Okay.
And right now I'm on the board of where we live, and
Okay.
we're working with thinking about putting in a new road. So we've had meetings about every other day for the last 3 weeks.
Excellent.
So they keep me busy.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I'd go crazy if I wasn't occupied.
Well, exactly. You got to do something. So you talked before. You said you had gotten the vaccine. What's the process in Florida for getting the vaccine, and was it easy or difficult to get in line to get vaccinated?
Well, let me see. We've spent 4 weeks on the phone from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8:30 trying to get in with the... originally, we called the county health. Originally down here, they were going to start at 75 to 8 and over. Then the governor decided you're going to go to 65. So the fast ones that were younger, 65, so they got first. I had 5 people making phone calls for us, and I finally got into Publix. Then the county opened up after the vaccine didn't get here for a week because of the snow up there. The county got an extra supply of the vaccine, and the county health made a phone call to my wife. And thank God, 2 days. She was supposed to. Originally, she got accepted down in Coconut Creek, which is 45 miles from here. But I said, hold on. Sorry. I said, let's hope that the county comes through. Maybe we'll be able to go to the fairgrounds. And sure in hell, that same day they called and she was able to go to the fairgrounds, which is around the corner, maybe a mile and a half. So she got hers at the fairgrounds. I got mine at Publix.
You got yours at the grocery store.
Yep.
They're giving shots out at Publix? That's crazy.
Well, yeah, but the pharmacy.
Hey, no, who cares if you get a shot? I don't care if they give it to me standing on the corner. Just give me one.
Talk about politics?
Yeah, well, Florida's run a little differently than New York.
Publix got it because he gave a big donation to the governor here.
Yeah, well, you guys actually have a real governor down here, not like the one we have up here.
Well, you have a bad one.
I have a feeling he doesn't like the governor.
No, I can't stand him. No, Ron DeSantis is a good
As
guy.
I said, it ain't the same as it used to was.
Well, nothing's the same as it used to be, but
Nah.
you know.
So now, Lou, you go back to the
This world and you work for them.
you go back to the same locations now for your second shots.
Yeah. So when I got my shot, they gave me a card with the time and
Right.
for ours are 4 weeks apart.
Now,
Did you both get the same vaccination or same brand or?
Yeah, was it Moderna?
Moderna or whatever it is.
Moderna?
What is it?
Moderna. Starts with an M? Yeah. Well, now...
Pfizer's easier to say. But
it is, but I don't think Florida and New York is the same way. They don't have the capacity to store. The thing has to be stored at like minus 80.
No, that's Pfizer, though.
That's the Pfizer one, right.
Has to be in the freezer.
Yeah, New York doesn't get Pfizer either. But what I did read in the Post yesterday, Rick, is that Johnson & Johnson has 4 million doses ready to go, and that's a one-shot deal.
They're going to know this week.
Yeah, I think today, right, Lou?
A million are going out on Monday.
Good.
That one, though, is only supposedly 70 to 75% effective. It'll keep you out of the hospital. It'll keep you from getting really sick. But it's not quite as good as Moderna and Pfizer, which supposedly is 95%.
Right, but,
better than nothing.
Right, it is better than nothing. But, the influenza shot, the flu shot, it's only about 70% effective. I get one every year.
As long as you can stay out of the hospital, you just have the same thing with the flu shot. You just don't get it as bad.
Right.
You're lucky, Lou. I was telling...
The worst thing is that if people would listen, so you have to wear a lousy mask. You wear it. What the hell? The criminals used to wear them all the time.
Good point, Lou.
I'm getting texts.
Go up to the golf course.
Text messages from...
Put the mask on to go
from
to
Juan?
the pro shop.
Oh.
Then you come out and you take the mask off. And then you forget when you go back to go to the pro shop to go to the locker room.
The thing that people don't
understand.
The thing that people don't understand about COVID is this: is yes, the mask helps, but unless someone walks up to you and that has COVID and sneezes on you or spits on you, that's the only way it's going to be transpired. And I mean, if you're mouth to mouth talking to each other, which no one really is, everybody usually stays apart from each other. Just walking down the hallway or walking somewhere without a mask on, if you walk by someone that doesn't have a mask on and one of you has COVID, you're not going to give it to the other one. If that was the case, if it was in the air like that, we'd all would have been dead months ago.
Well, not dead.
Why did so many of them have it when they didn't wear their mask?
Well,
And
that's the big problem. So you have to suffer a little bit. But if everybody did it, it wouldn't spread. They don't know how it spread. That's where the problem is.
Are people pretty good in Florida wearing masks or no?
No, they don't wear masks.
Some places.
Nobody wears masks down there.
Wow.
At least in Broward County, they
We
don't.
haven't left the compound other than I have to go shopping because she's been sick. But it takes me 3 hours to do what she used to do in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Right.
And you see, I think the whole problem with it, too, is everybody's affected differently by it. When you listen to people who have had COVID, some people have had very, very mild symptoms. Some were asymptomatic, had no symptoms at all. And then some people had the full-blown out flu.
Like with Fred.
Right.
One day he was okay, and the next day he had a few symptoms, and,
Right. I mean, there's a perfect example now. Fred and I were together at a meeting, and then he had notified me that he had tested positive.
Fred who?
Fred Costello.
He's a host here on
Monday.
Right.
So then I went and tested, and I ended up 6 days later. I ended up testing positive, and for 8 days had no symptoms. And then towards the end of the 8th day, I went to McDonald's. Well, I didn't go to McDonald's. One of my kids went out to McDonald's and picked me up McNuggets, and they just didn't taste right. I was like, "This is weird."
Oh yeah, that's one of the signs.
Right? So I ended up for 10 days. I lost my taste. And Lou, let me tell you something. You should appreciate this as an Italian.
My son too, Alan.
What's that?
Lost the taste. My son Alan did in Atlanta, and he had an 18-year-old daughter, and she came home and evidently picked it up, and then Alan and Leah had it, and Alan still hasn't gotten his taste back.
Yeah, it was weird. I lost it for 10 days, and then I have to give kudos. We have the barbecue place up in Sorgates, and they had some food delivered over to police headquarters. It was on a Friday afternoon, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I came down the steps from the second floor, and I could smell barbecue. I was like, what?
Hallelujah.
I went in and tasted it, and my taste was back. And I got to tell you, I have a greater appreciation now for the taste of food than I did prior to it.
Well, you always enjoyed my food.
Oh, I did, always, always. Yeah, that would have been the worst thing that could have happened to me if I completely lost my taste. That would,
You're saying
long term.
Italian?
Oh my gosh. But and unfortunately, some people have lost their life because of it. So it's really, it's strange that they don't, and unfortunately, the doctors don't fully understand it. They don't understand how it's affecting the human body in most cases.
Well,
transmission is an issue.
Thank God we're on the tail end of this thing.
The doctor's virtual. He doesn't even see anybody.
Yeah, that's true too. That's the other issue, right? If you say you have COVID-like symptoms, they don't even want to see you. They
don't. I tell you, the first time I went and got my test on Grand Street right here in Kingston, I knew I didn't have it, but I was getting ready to travel. I wanted to have a test. I wanted to just make sure I was okay. Plus, my mother is, senior, elderly. I didn't want to be passing it along to her.
So young.
I was sitting in that waiting room on Grand Street, and there's people in there hacking, coughing. I had 2 masks on, but it's just like I felt more exposed there going in to get the test. When I went to go, I've been tested in 3 different states 6 times. I was tested in Florida twice. You can drive into the Boca Town Center in Boca Raton. You get the rapid test. You pull up in your car. You get out. You walk through a tent. They swab you. They're like, well, we'll text you in 10, 20 minutes. 10 minutes later, they texted me back, not detected. That way I was able to get on the plane the next day, fly back to New York, because for a while, New York was very strict about letting people in from other states with COVID, which is, being responsible. But I tell you, to get tested down there, they didn't. My point of the story is that I wasn't near anybody else. They pulled me out of the car. Sir, come with us. I followed the guy with the suit on into the tent with the nurse. There was no one else in the tent with me. No one else was waiting. Okay, you go back to your car. As soon as I got in my car, the next person they got out of the car, and they were moving them along fast. There was 9 different tents with 9 different nurses, and it was set up pretty. It wasn't like the one on Grand Street, but all 6 tests have all come back negative. So
see, they learned from Disney on how to move crowds.
We went to urgent care here.
Urgent care, right?
COVID test. But my wife was in the hospital twice, and she had the COVID both times she went. To test, she didn't have the COVID itself. Thank God, she had everything else.
In case anybody doesn't know, this is Lou Kirschner on the phone. And this is Rick Remsnyder with Chief Joe Sinagra. I got the easiest way I found I've tested a couple times in Ulster County, is to go to CVS, and they have a drive-through.
Yeah, that's the one that we're right on North Front in Washington.
This one's on Albany Avenue, across from Wendy's and all that. So you go there. They give you a kit, and you stay in the car, and then you swab it, and then you put it through the drive-through, the drive-through window.
Uh-huh.
And then they give you the results like 48 hours later.
You did your own swabbing?
You did your own swabbing?
Yes,
really?
You have to do it yourself.
Because in Florida, the nurse does it for you, and you can get the rapid test. They let you know within.
You think everybody knows how to do that?
Yeah, and God, they stick it up the swab pretty far up your nose, man.
Yeah, the one at CVS, it's only a couple inches. They just say swab,
Well, first they dip it in something, and then they stick it up your nose.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, in ours, the doctor comes out and everything. But we're in a car. They have you sit in the car for, actually it took about 40 minutes.
Right, but by the time you get there and it's all said and done, it took almost an hour. But
yeah, right.
Hey, if you got to do it, you got to do it. So we're almost out of the woods on this thing.
You feel a lot better if you find out you don't have it.
Oh, yeah. I was happy that day.
Yeah, so, Lou, we got Bob Baum, another TWAFSCO member that's just walked into the studio with us this morning.
Good morning, Lou.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm well.
Good morning, Bob.
Good to hear you. Good morning, Joe. Rick?
How are you, Bob? Good to see you.
Very well. Good to be seen.
I can't see you.
Sound like Keith Richards, the Stones. He says.
I don't have the thing on. That's
when Keith Richards goes on stage, my favorite band's the Rolling Stones, and the whole thing about COVID's killed me because I had tickets for 4 concerts this past summer, but he always says, Keith's, I don't know how he's still alive, but when he goes and introduces himself, he says, it's good to be here. It's good to be anywhere.
Yeah. You really had 4 separate, you were going to go to 4 Rolling Stone concerts?
I had tickets, my son and I, to go to Philly, Buffalo, and MetLife Stadium in New Jersey twice.
You're like a deadhead touring the Stones.
Yeah, I've seen them about 25 times, but I've known people that they basically go on tour with the Stones, and they've seen them like hundreds of times. So,
wow,
I'm hoping they're talking about maybe next summer, maybe.
Cool.
So hopefully they'll.
You know what they're doing in Denmark, right?
Here, and the limit is 1,500 people in the stadium.
Well, they're going to wait until the Rolling Stones. When they're still performing, I think Charlie Watts next year will be 82, and Mick and Keith will be
really?
79.
Charlie Watts is 82?
Yeah, 81 or 82.
Oh, my God.
So they're doing it for the money. They're not doing it in front of 1,500 people, I can tell you that right now.
Right. So that's right. 82. Holy cow.
They're still going strong, and I'll tell you, they still crank it out, and Jagger, even though he had a heart valve repaired.
And how old is Mick Jagger now?
I think he's 78. He'd be 79 next year.
Cow. Jeez.
Doesn't look it, though, with his energy.
No.
I bet you he has more energy than you after you get skiing.
Oh, I'm sure he does if he's bouncing around on stage. But, they're not paying me $100,000 to go skiing, or I'd have all the energy in the world. Okay?
Right.
All right? Yeah. So, all right, well, listen, we're going to go to a break. Lou, you want to stay on for the other half hour with us?
I can if you want.
I mean, if you got a tea time you got to get to.
No, 9:50.
Oh, 9. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so we'll be back in a few minutes, folks, with Bob Baum and Joe and Lou Kirschner, Joe Sinagra, and Rick Remsnyder.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
Okay, we're back. It's Friday morning. What's today's date? The 26th or is it the 25th?
Yes, it is.
Today's the 26th.
We're joined with Lou Kirschner on the phone from Florida, who's got a tea time at 9:50, so we got to be quick. Bob Baum is in the studio. Rick
Morning.
Remsnyder, former Ulster County Department of Tourism.
Correct,
Tourism
sir.
Director. And Chief of Police of Saugerties, Joe Sinagro. Lou, what are you doing? Are you trying to speed dial someone?
With the phone.
I'm playing with you. Okay, so Bob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Hope everyone else is too.
Good, good. Did you get a shot yet?
No, I haven't. I wait till 5 o'clock for those.
Okay. No, I meant the vaccine.
Down there.
I'll join you. So, Bob, I got to ask you. I heard yesterday. I heard some people talking about a affordable housing inventory that's currently being conducted in Ulster County.
Yes.
So you're aware of it.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm curious because I see yesterday I had to go. I try to take one day of the week as the chief, and I take all the complaints that come in during the week. I'll get like individual residential complaints, and I go and I check them all out. And so I spent a lot of time driving around town yesterday, and I was surprised again at the amount of new houses that are being put up in Saugerties. And then I heard, is that Lou again? Lou's trying to cut in.
What are you doing?
So then I heard about the housing inventory, but it was particularly looking at affordable housing. How does that, where does the cohesiveness come between affordable housing and what's currently going on with the market? Because it appears to me from people I talk to, and another example, we had a town resident who just said, you know what, I'm going to put my house on Zillow. I'm going to take a couple of pictures, I'm going to put it on Zillow and just see what happens. And within 24 hours, he sold the house, not for only the ridiculous amount of money he was asking for, but more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so it's, so again, I guess I'm looking for some input from you. Where do you see the housing market going?
Well, I think the affordable housing market has to be addressed. This gentrification we're going through, it's a nice way of saying we're getting some exorbitant money for properties. And it generally has an effect of squeezing out affordable housing for the people we need to work in the community. It becomes a bit difficult for somebody to have to drive 40 miles to go into a part-time job. So affordable housing is a necessary animal. It's not my favorite thing, but...
So I guess that's part of the problem that they've recognized is, and I guess for the lack of how I'm going to say it is, and it's not against anybody, but I guess a lot of times when these projects come to mind, people are saying, I don't want that in my neighborhood.
Correct.
So how do we address that? Is there a way to address that?
Well, I think community meetings take place. Generally, let me shift gears just a little bit. I've done a number of large projects, not housing projects necessarily, but other projects in areas outside of the county. And I've always taken the lead in going to the town fathers, if you will, and saying, what do you want in this particular location? What is your sweet spot? Rather than coming in with a big plan with a lot of gruff and going into a meeting and saying, here, this is what we're going to do, and I need your approval to do this, and we're going to shove it down your throat. You don't do that. You talk to the community and get the consensus first. So I think that's one way to mollify the complaints.
So where do you see now? I don't know if this inventory has been completed.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so I'm wondering if when that would be released, and what's that going to show for Ulster County as far as, do we have they identified areas, and you may not even know the answer to this, it's just stuff that kind of pops in my head, but have we identified areas in our county that that sufficiently lack affordable housing versus other areas of our county?
My guess is probably not. Maybe I would hope this research would do that.
Okay. I don't know, Rick, any thoughts on the affordable housing? I know it's a big issue, and I just see, I can't imagine what happens to the other property owners that have lived here for years, and you have somebody that moves in next door to you and pays twice the amount of the assessed value of a home, how that's going to impact them on their taxes, and are we going to start driving? Do you see the market almost getting to a point where it could shift, and all of a sudden we're going to have an abundance of vacant houses because people won't be able to afford their taxes? Or does that make sense?
Well, I don't think you're going to see that shift. First of all, houses generally have been selling for more than twice assessed value. Assessed value has nothing to do with appraised value.
Okay.
So you've got an assessed value of $140,000, and the neighborhood is selling for $280,000. That's not a bad situation. It's when the $280,000 gets bumped to $380,000, and that gets the tax people taking a look at the overall picture. Typically, the individual houses are assessed at a kind of a flat rate. You've got a rate per thousand that you pay for various parts of the taxes. So that aspect has to be changed in order for the people who've been here for a long time to be reassessed. So that has to come from the government in some way.
Okay.
So at some point they say, oh, look, values have gone way up. We have to reassess everybody. So then you get to vote for it.
And then not every, like I know some areas have what they call 100% assessment, some maybe at 80%.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So how does that...
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the property is worth what it's being assessed for. It could be worth more than that or less in general.
That's why we have our grievance days.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why we have a grievance.
That's why we have grievance days. So what interesting forecasts do you have for us as far as our housing markets?
That's difficult to forecast. You've said it in a nutshell. The people are seeing some massive numbers quickly for their properties. The question is, if I sell my house for $475,000, let's say, where am I going to go?
Well, I have a friend who did that. Didn't think their house was going to sell right away, and now they're living in a camper.
Yes.
On a piece of property that they own because
it went that fast.
Because it went that fast. They didn't expect the house to go that fast.
Yeah, I have a number of friends who've put their property up, and they're gone.
Right. I mean, it's ideal if your plan was to actually retire and leave the area and maybe head down south. But it's interesting because I think the problem that drives it too is like I keep getting a postcard for my house. And they obviously came by and took a picture of my house, and we want to buy your house. So I never thought I'd see a day where somebody's gonna be knocking on my door saying, "Hey, I want to buy your house." So these companies, I guess I'm trying to understand, what are they doing? Are they flipping the houses? Are they?
Generally speaking, they're doing that.
They're just flipping them.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
Because I put my house on the market over a year and a half ago, and I wanted to downsize in New Paltz. So anyway, I put the house on the market, and within a week I had 3 offers. Now, they were all above what I asked for, but I wasn't getting like this huge amount.
Right.
I wasn't like double or anything like that. So I actually had to go back to have my realtor go back to the highest bidder and said, I'm not really interested in moving out in 30 days. I figured she told me it would be, 30 to 90 days or something like that. So then the people were fine. So I had another, maybe it was 3 months to get out. But, I'm not an expert in this field, but all I know is that there were maybe a cluster of 4 or 5 similarly priced homes in the village of New Paltz, and the same type that I had, 3-bedroom Cape, 3 or 4 blocks from the college. So it wasn't an exorbitant amount over what I had asked for, but, if you want to move a house, at least in New Paltz, there's no problem.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not really the guy to talk to about the housing market because I really don't. Other than needing to be aware of what's going on, I don't deal in that.
You're the closest thing we could get this morning. But you deal mostly commercial stuff, right?
Well, 99.9% commercial investment. If it's an investment property, if it has a rate of return because you're leasing out from a 2-family apartment to a 100-unit or 150-unit apartment complex, that's what I do.
Okay.
But speaking of housing, how I do get involved in, for instance, I've got a 17-acre plot I represent on Lucas, and we've been working on this for about 5 years now. And we're looking at 72 to 80 townhomes, individually owned townhomes. Now, you have to target what the valuation is going to be on these townhomes. And it's probably going to be up in the $450 range. So we're looking now for a developer builder for that site, because we also have sewer coming this first quarter of this year. So we have municipal water on site, and we now have sewer. So now we're ready to pull the trigger and go to Mr. Quigley and say, hey, what do we do next?
Right. So now, because I'm a little ignorant when it comes to the whole housing market and some of these things with the taxes, trending, is that a familiar term?
Yeah.
Can you explain what trending is to me? Because I hear this and I don't fully understand what trending.
Well, that's difficult to answer. I go to Gerald Salenti and ask him. He's the trends guy.
He's the trends guy?
Yeah.
But it has my understanding, it does have an impact on assessments.
Well, ultimately it does. Again, as the sales values rise, so that the government has a basis to request a reassessment of the whole area. But that takes time.
And when you say the government, you're talking local municipality?
Yeah, local municipalities, right.
What are some of your commercial properties that you're working with now, Bob?
It's a wide range. We've got access to, I don't belong to the local multiple listing service. I belong to the New York State Commercial Association of Realtors and the New York State Multiple Listing Service. So that's another reason why I don't deal in houses. But through that group, we have an extremely active group of commercial-only realtors. There's a half a dozen or so here in Kingston, Deegan Collins and myself and Stryker and Lefevre and guys like that. And of course, then you get out of the area a little bit and you get Cushman Wakefield involved, and Albany has their group of commercial. But we all work together on the eastern part of the country. So we'll work from Plattsburgh to St. Augustine. So we could be dealing in properties with buyers who are seeking investment properties. And that could be anything from the local investor looking for 2 or 4 or 6 family properties to the big boys who are looking for 100, 200, 500 unit apartment complexes. So we have to reach out a long way for that.
This is Bob Baum with us, with Rick Ramsire and Joe Sinagra. Here's a question that people ask me all the time. What the heck's happening with the Hudson Valley Mall? I mean, do you have any insight into that? It just seems like one store after another is closing. You have a great, what is a new Vance over there, the healthcare, which is nice. Right. And the new movie theater, which we talked about earlier, is not doing great, in my opinion. What is the future there? Is there a future?
Well, I think the group from Georgia who bought that mall.
Hull, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Hull. They've done a great deal to change the look of that property. It's, I guess this is a personal opinion, it's somewhat of a difficult access. I mean, you have 4 entries to the place, to the mall. But retail started to slide, and the big boys pulled out. That left all the smaller stores with a problem because they had lack of foot traffic, so they had to close. So it's being a redeveloped area. Now you take a look at it. It doesn't cover all strip malls. Take a look at the Herzog's area down there. I think he's 100% leased, and it's a very active mall. But the access points they're right in the traffic pattern. So it's going to take a while to redevelop that.
And if it doesn't, what happened is my son is living in Pittsfield, Mass., and there's a huge mall up there. And basically, it was the size of the Hudson Valley Mall, and there's one anchor store and a movie theater, and everything else is...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I hope that doesn't...
Well, that's happened somewhat nationwide as well, and so we'll have to wait and see what happens up there. there are many plazas for sale at cut rates
Sure.
across the country right now.
They have some great murals up there. I mean, there's some wonderful pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Of the county. Unfortunately, they're covering up the barren stores.
Yeah, that's very true. Back to the commercial aspect, I try to, I specialize in commercial. I don't do the broad spectrum. It's kind of like doctors in the past. They do everything from coming to a birthday party if somebody was sick and visit them, and they specialize from the hair on your head, which I don't have much of anymore, all the way down to your toenails. And now everybody is specializing. And you really, with the technologies we have today, you really can't address all the issues. And those of us who are in the commercial market, we stay focused on just that.
So when you take a look at the corridor in the town of Ulster, you see, I'll date myself. I'll call it the Mammoth Mall, the King's Mall.
Yeah.
So there was revitalization there, because remember that kind of died off. That was empty, and then all of a sudden now it appears that everything is pretty much filled in there. They're probably at about 90% capacity, I would think.
Yep.
I think the only thing they have was the old Olive Garden, right?
Right. The Olive Garden is.
It's open there. But then I take a look at the building that went up behind Five Guys, and then I take a look at the Hudson Valley Mall and say, we have an empty mall. What were these people thinking, building this building back there? So do you know what's going in that building? I mean, that seems to be the question today. What's going in the building?
I do not. You got to ask Mark Stryker or Dan Lefevre that one. That's their baby.
That's theirs, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed to see Barnes and Noble. You talk about retail space.
I'm trying to. I don't know where they're going. They claim they're going to stay in the community.
They do. Did you get a letter yesterday from
No.
them? They sent out an email to people that we shop there quite frequently, and we had received an email from them. And I had mentioned earlier on the show, I was disappointed when I read in the email that they indicated had to leave that space after 16 years because the owners didn't want to release to them, which I was surprised at. I mean, why wouldn't? I mean, there's a lot of foot traffic that comes in that mall, which used to be the old Montgomery Wards, right? That comes into that mall strip. That otherwise they're probably going to lose a lot of foot traffic. I think that was the biggest draw there, other than when you have Bed Bath and Beyond too.
That could have been the issue there that I wasn't aware of until you just said it. 16 years. I'm going to guess 16 years ago, they got locked into a rate per square foot that was pretty attractive. And probably at this point, I know that space out there is going in the $30 a square foot range. And there were many properties 16 years ago where the rate was around $6 or $8 a square foot. So you have to take a look at that. So they have their model, meaning Barnes & Noble has their model based on a certain cost per square foot.
Right.
And so when that lease finally came to an end, then they're on the street.
But you know,
quite a few Barnes and Nobles that have closed nationwide.
Yes, there are.
So it's not a trend that's trending upwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would only make sense. I mean, if you're going to not pay, I mean, if that's the case, if they were locked in at a lower rate and now the rate's going up because they have to redo the lease, I guess if I own Barnes and Noble, how would I expect that I'm going to pay a lower rate than what they're going to ask me to pay there for someplace else in the same area?
They occupy a pretty good set of square feet there too, and the spot that goes through my mind is where they ought to be is the old Office Depot.
I said that this morning.
Oh yeah, because that has the space.
Yeah,
that's gone wanting for a long, long time.
Right,
and I'm sure that the owners there would probably offer some sort of an attractive rate to them to get them to take the space that's been empty for so long.
Yeah.
A little bit of revenue is better than none at all for somebody who's been wanting.
Exactly, right.
Well, I can only speak for myself. During COVID, I mean, I used to go into Barnes & Noble all the time, sit down, get a latte or something, sit down there and, read a magazine or a book. I'd spend an hour in there. I'd buy something. I haven't been in there since the pandemic, and if I want a book or something, Amazon.com. So I'm sure a lot of people are doing that.
I like to go to Barnes and Noble, have a coffee, and sit down and drool over a couple of the magazines they have in there. One is the Antique Boat magazine, and the other one is the Antique Cars.
Right.
Collector Cars issue, and you know how we love those things.
I was just in there recently, Barnes & Noble, and it was packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was packed. Yeah, I waited in line to get to the register. I can't say packed. But they were within the
50%.
percentage of people they were supposed to have in there. But you still had to wait in line to
That's
make
good.
a purchase.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I didn't. It wasn't like it was a ghost town when I walked in there, and that's why I was surprised when I heard that they were leaving that spot.
You know, speaking of coffee and crowded areas, I was at Raj's Getty Mart this morning getting my morning cup of coffee, and the door is opening and closing about 10 times while I'm just in there getting coffee. He runs a great show over there.
It's interesting to talk about malls real quick. The other day I was down at the Newburgh Mall, and there's, I think it's called Jennifer's Discount Furniture, whatever. They're going to put in the video terminals in there from Monticello Raceway.
Oh.
So that whole space, the Newburgh Mall is kind of in the same vein of a lot of closures as the Hudson Valley Mall, but I think that is going to be a real boon for the Newburgh Mall, and so who knows, maybe something like that could happen at Hudson Valley Mall, but it's certainly going to help the Newburgh Mall down there.
Sure, yeah.
So what else you got for us this morning?
What do I have for you?
Yeah, I see you brought your binder in. You have a.
Oh,
I see a list of things there.
I just have notes. You know, back to what I mentioned about the group of guys that we have in the Commercial Association of Realtors. Great group of guys. Every meeting we have is now we're on Zoom, has between 40 and 70 brokers from around the region who we talk about the properties we have available and the wants and needs. Everything from hotels to storage unit properties. Warehousing is huge right now. Amazon's doing 1 million square feet down in Montgomery. The property right next to it just went up for sale. Predisposed to 750,000 square feet of warehouse. So who knows who's going to be going in there, but that's just a huge market that's driving real estate values in a lot of areas. And that brings in places like a drive-in movie theater up in Catskill, Cooksaki. They've been wanting to retire up there, and it's a great venue, and drive-in movie theaters have a resurgence nationwide.
Yes,
right
absolutely. Yes, they have.
So we have some unique properties available.
You're right about drive-ins because when I was tourism director, we sponsored something called the Asbury Shorts Concert. And what it was sort of a little film festival. We held it in the Rosendale Theater and then the Phoenicia Theater twice a year. So last year, of course, we couldn't do that. Couldn't do it indoors. So the producer, he took it to the Greenville Drive-In, which I had never been up in, let's see, what town is it? It's in Greene County, but anyway, Greenville, I guess. So it was really cool, and had a good, nice crowd at the drive-in theater, and they had a full schedule of movies throughout the summer. Obviously, social distancing, you're in your car. If you want to go get popcorn or a drink or something, plenty of space. So, I could see drive-ins continue to do really well.
Right, yeah. A little bit of a turnaround going on there for certain. The other aspect of what we deal in is various groups of investors who are looking to take the profits from other property they sell and roll that into new properties in a tax-deferred status. And that's something that we work with clients on. The tax deferments are known as 1031 exchange.
Right.
And you can sell a property and have a $4 million gain, but if you only own the property for less than a year, it's going to be taxed, whatever your gain is, taxed as ordinary income. But if you hold it for over a year, typically you better hold it for a couple of years so the IRS doesn't look at you too much. And then your tax rate is greatly reduced. So it could be 10%, 15 or 20% on that gain. But if you want to save that 20% on a $4 million gain, that's $800,000, and then you could roll that into another property.
Right.
So that's something that we do a lot of guidance on.
That's something I'm familiar with people that flip houses. That's how they, right.
Yeah. Well, if you flip houses, generally you're flipping within a year. So there really isn't any way to shelter that.
Okay, so you got to hold it for a year.
Well, you've got to hold it for a year, or again, if you're in the business of flipping houses, even if you held it for longer, the IRS could make a point that, well, you're in it, this is a business.
Gotcha.
So we're going to tax you at the ordinary rate.
Got to pay the government. Uncle Sam needs his nickels.
Got to pay the piper, that's right.
Before we go, this is Bob Baum with us. I know, Bob, whenever I get a chance to talk golf, I will talk golf, even if it's in late February.
You bet.
I know that you were a longtime member of the board at Twaskill Golf Club, and you're still a member there. Talk about how well you guys did last year and looking forward to 2021.
Well, again, we have a year. Last year has been one of the better years. It pulled some strings for the club in general. And we have a resurgence of young members coming. Well, they're here. They're already there. And for the first time in over 25 years, we're looking at the possibility of having to have a third league day. Typically, we have Tuesday and Wednesday night men's league, and we have a mixed league on Thursdays, and it looks like we have to go to Monday now. I think that decision should be made in the next week or so, because golf is going to be here in 30 days.
Now they can play 3 nights a week.
I hope you're right. See that, Lawrence? Actually, millennials are playing golf now.
Yes.
Oh, well, I haven't seen any play yet, but I believe you.
Yeah.
Actually, we play with quite a few millennials up at Twaskill.
Yes, we do. We've had a surge of people coming in the 30, 40-year-old range.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
And they're happy at the club.
Good,
They're good members, good players, and it's doing well. So we're looking for a very good year this year.
Great.
And we are the only private club in the area now.
Completely private, right. Yeah, Wilwick's now semi-private.
That's right, yes, so now they're the only ones around here, that's right.
Well, Woodstock is private.
Oh, that's private,
But
yeah.
they allow, it's interesting, Woodstock has a deal where if you can prove that the Emerson, you can stay at the Emerson, play golf at Woodstock. Also, if you prove that you're staying in the county, let's say you're an overnight or a weekend or something, and you bring in the, your receipt for your staying at the Holiday Inn Express or something, you can play at Woodstock. But so I don't think Twaskill has that, so they're strictly a private club.
Right, yeah, I don't want to overstress the private part of it. People are welcome to come and check us out.
Yeah,
Please come over and, tell Andrew Connors, our general manager, that, can we have a drink at the bar? We'd like to take a look at the club.
And it's very affordable for a membership. It always has been, right?
Right, yeah.
I was a member of Wilwick for a while, and unless you're playing X amount of rounds 2 or 3 times a week, when I used to be a golf writer, I could do that, but it gets a little pricey if you're playing once a week or something, whereas...
Yeah, I don't know what the rates are at Wilwick, but Wilwick, they seem to have done a pretty good job.
The
course is beautiful. I played on it a couple of times last year. But Twaskill is a unique course. It's an up and down the hill course. It's nine very trying holes for me, at any rate. I know a lot of the guys there, they drive the ball pretty far, and I used to, but not quite as far as I used to drive it. So,
well, we're getting pretty close to the end here, so I want to thank Bob Baum for being here. It's great seeing you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, anytime. And Chief, it's great seeing you.
Nice seeing you.
I guess Lawrence is breaking us up after one show, but maybe...
Well, I mean,
I'll be a filler.
It just happened to work out that way. If you want to, you can hear Joe the first Wednesday of every month with the rest of the police commissioners and chiefs, but the next time me and Joe will be on will be March 22nd. We'll be on Monday.
Good.
So Medical Monday is only on the first 3 Mondays of the month. So me and Joe will be doing the 4th Monday of the month. And actually, March happens to have 5 Mondays in it. So we're going to be doing 2 shows back to back. So
Nice.
any guests that you want to bring on, Joe, that, Greg and Fred might not have been able to put,
Right.
now's a good chance to bring those on.
Excellent.
So you can join Rick. Now, this is Rick's new show. Heidi has, she works for Mortucci now, Senator Mortucci. So his offices are in Middletown, so it's a little too far for her to leave the show and then go there. So she's going to be taking a hiatus for a little while. So Rick and Fran DiPetrillo will be back on March 12th. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing the morning with us and participating in